Hey guys, and welcome to another video on this channel. In this video we're going to be recapping everything we've done on CSS. So we went through only beginner stuff, not advanced. So in the first tutorial we learned about linking the CSS file. So we wanted to do that because so we can add our colors and effect on a separate file, so the HTML file doesn't look too messy. So we added the CSS effect onto another file and linking it to our HTML file. So I'll put the colors onto the browser. So as well as we designed the paragraph and header, so we done that by adding multiple color and changing the text and background color of it to and the actual page. So we just added so we changed the color of the text and adding background color onto our website. So in the second tutorial we learned about different border properties. So there were different borders such as solid, the dotted, and etc. And we also done a 3D border, so that was really interesting. So for the 3D border we added different colors for it. So as well as the classes, so we make different classes and put them into only one of the thing. For example, only adding color to one of the paragraphs. So we made like a class for a paragraph, so we could add like specific colors onto it. So on the CSS file we made like a class, and then on the HTML file we put like class equals whatever we named it, and we put the CSS colors. So the CSS colors were like were sort of different. They weren't like green, purple, anything like that. They were named like tomato, chocolate, aquamarine, turquoise, and all of those different colors. So they weren't like basic named colors. In the third tutorial we learned about adding images. So this one was a bit interesting. So we just added image, changing the size, and adding it as a background of a web browser. So that was a pretty interesting tutorial for that as well. In the fourth tutorial we learned about margins. So there was different margin side, which was the margin bottom, margin left, margin right, and the margin top. So there was like sort of like vertical alignments and horizontal alignments for it. So there were like so the two borders were sort of separated to each other, and experimenting how much we have to create space to make the web browser look perfect. And we learned about auto margins, which gives the perfect fit for the text on the browser. So it's sort of recommending what how much space it could be created. So in the fifth tutorial we learned about padding. So that was sort of similar to the margins, but this was something that was inside the box. So padding is when you give space around the border, meaning space surrounding the text. So just as with the margins, that there are different padding size, and experimented the perfect size for the box. So we're sort of creating space for the padding top and the padding bottom, and the left and the right. And in the sixth tutorial we learned about text decorations. So we learned such as underline, overline, line through, and etc. So the underline was just underlining the text. The overline was lines above the text, and the line through was sort of like the line on top of the text. So it's sort of like a cross out sort of thing right there. So in the seventh tutorial we learned about text capitalization. This was a really simple tutorial. It was just us just changing it so then it's a lowercase or uppercase, or just everything being capitalized. So the uppercase is sort of capitalizing only the first letter of the text or of the word, and lowercase is just everything lowercase right there. We also done spacing of text, so that was, and this one was a good tutorial to teach. So it's just again creating a space, but only a little bit, depending how much pixels we added onto it. So we done like word spacing, text indentation, letter spacing, and line height. So the line height was sort of like a padding, was sort of similar to padding and margin right there. So it's just creating space between the two sentences, letter spacing, again creating space between the letters, and that's similar with word spacing, and text indentation and white spacing right there. And in the 9th tutorial we learned about shadow effects, so we added shadow onto the text, so there'll be shadow behind it, so sort of those black stuff behind it, we added shadow to our text to sort of make it the text more realistic and added more style onto our text. So we do that by adding how much pixels we needed. So we had to add a lot of pixels, so it's a lot more visible. But and yeah, we made a perfect shadow for the text, and we added blur to blend in to our website. So the blur was the interesting bit of the tutorial. In the 10th tutorial, we learned about adding icons. This one was another interesting one, so something really something different to the other tutorials. So just adding like sort of pictures type of thing. So we used a website called Bootstrap, which allowed us to pick an icon we liked, and copying and paste. This is meant to say paste the HTML code onto a file so it will appear. So we copied and pasted in the HTML code given from the Bootstrap website, and then that was sort of like the link for the icon right there, and then adding it onto our icon like that. So in the 11th tutorial we learned about adding opacity onto the pictures, so that one was a simple one. So we added opacity, so all we had to do just add an image, and then all we had to do is just type in opacity and a number right there. So that was so it was somewhere around 0 to 10, and yeah, so just adding up general numbers, and yeah, so that was right there. I think it's 0 to 1. Yeah, it's not 0 to 10. Oh no. And so so that was adding so it was 0 to 1, I think. Yeah, so it's between that. So I think 1 is like the most transparent, so technically not even, you can't even see the image, and 0 is the least transparent, so it's just a normal image right there. And then we also done, whenever we hover onto the web browser, it makes it less transparent, and we done it vice versa right there. So say whenever we hover onto an image, it'll get brighter, no, not brighter, more transparent, and again, whenever the image is transparent, whenever you hover onto it, it'll go back to its normal transparency. So the hover bit was really interesting. So in the 12th tutorial we learnt about position properties. They were the text should be according to the property we instructed for the web browser. So we use properties such as static, fixed, relative, and etc. We make it easier by doing it in the box. So sort of is just so the static is sort of just putting the text in the flow of the web page. So say if the web browser have text and it's all on the right side, so is the text in the box, which is in the right side. So the position properties were really useful to learn about, and yeah. In the 13th tutorial we learnt about links and its state. So we went through different states such as the A link, the A visit, and the A active. So they were all different states. So the link is whenever you see the link, so it's just like that. So whenever we see the link, it'll be a specific color. The A visit, so say whenever we click onto it, and then go back, it'll change color. The A active, which is whenever you click on it, it'll change color right there, and etc. I think the other one was A hover. Yeah, so whenever we hover onto it, it'll change color. So yeah, so for example, whenever we hover on the link, it turns green. And yeah, and as well as display values, we went stuff like inline element, block element, which are displays values. So whenever we get a list, we can make it so the lists are on the same line right there. And we went through wait, oh yeah, so I got a bit confused. So yeah, lists. So we learned about different list style types. So we can design our list by replacing the bullet points with an icon or an image. We went through the positions that can be either inside or outside. So the position for the list, so we sort of put in the inside, so more of the inside of the web browser, and the outside, putting it sort of like beside the margin right there. So yeah, and replacing the image with replacing the bullet point with an image was really interesting as well. And in the 16th tutorial, we learned about tables in CSS. So that one's really, it was really long, and yeah, it was really interesting to teach as well for me. So we learned about different table borders, like designing them, making so it's a single border instead of two. So the single border is a collapsed border, which means is a single border, and adding how much width and height to the specific tables. For example, we want to change the width of the table header and height of the actual table. We also learnt about new alignments such as the top and bottom, which were called vertical alignments, which I mentioned earlier in the video. So yeah, so that was the tables. So if you liked all of these tutorials that we learnt about, make sure to hit the notification bell, because in the next video we're going to be going through the first tutorial on C#. So we're going to be beginning stuff on C#. So in the first tutorial we're going to be downloading Visual Studio. So if you want to learn more CSS and other tutorials, make sure to check out the playlist. So if you enjoyed this tutorial, make sure to subscribe and leave a like for more tutorials like these in the future. Thanks for watching.